जय जय श्री श्री गुरु गौरांग गंधार गिरिधारी श्री श्री राधा विनोद बिहारी जू की जाय। श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मरन मोहन जू की जाय। नित्याल्प विष्णु विष्णुपार शुतर शुत शिशुमार भक्ति वेदांत नारायण गोसाई महाराज श्री गुरुदेव की जाय। नित्याल्प विष्णु विष्णुपार शुतर शुत शिशुमार भक्ति वेदांत वामन गोसाई महाराज की जाय। नित्याल्प विष्णु विष्णुपार शुतर शुत शिशुमार भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की जाय। नित्याल्प विष्णु विष्णुपार शुतर शुत शिशुमार भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोसाई महाराज की जाय। नित्याल्प विष्णु विष्णुपार शुतर शुत शिशुमार भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई प्रभुपाद की जाय। नित्याल्प विष्णु महाभगवत श्री गोक्षरस बाबाजी महाराज की जय। नित्याल्प विश्व श्री सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। नित्याल्प विष्णु वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथ दास बाबाजी महाराज की जय। श्री रूपानुपुरी गुरु वर्ग की जय। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्टदास रघुनाथ शार गोसाई प्रभु की जय। श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंदारी श्री गौर प्रसाद वृंद की जय। नाम जय श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से गो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौरमंडल व्रजमंडल मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय। सर्व अभिष्ट विराट गिरिराज महाराज की जय। श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जय। श्री यमुना देवी गंगा देवी की जय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री पूर्णमासी योग माया की जय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय। श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। Jai. For those who are following today, Shri Papamochani Akadashi Titi ki Jai. Akadashi Titi Palan Kari Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Jai Shri Harinama Sankirtana ki Jai. Jai Bhakti-tattva-viveka ki Jai. Jai Shri Satchidananda Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura ki Jai. Jai Shri Harinama Sankirtana ki Jai. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। Okay, until the Mangalacharan and then begin. अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। गुरुवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकायै तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। श्रीसिद्धान्तसरस्वतीति विदितो गौरीयगुर्वन्वये भातो भानुरिव प्रभातगगने योगोरसङ्कीर्तनये मायावारतिमिङ्गिलो दरगतान् उद्धृत्य जीवानिमन् कृष्णप्रेमसुधाब्धिगाहनसुखान् प्रादात्प्रभुं तं भजे। वन्दे भक्तिविनोदं श्री गौरशक्तिस्वरूपकं भक्तिशास्त्रज्ञसम्राजं राधारससुधानिधिम्। नमो भक्तिविनोदाय सच्चिदानन्दनामिने गौरशक्ति स्वरूपाय रूपानुगा रूपानुगवरायते श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले Swayam Rupa Kada Mayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Vrishabhanusutanvitavamatanu Yamuna Tatanagaranandasutam Murali Kalagita Vinoraparang Bhaja Godrumakanana Kunjavidum Smara Gauragadadara Kelikalam Bhava Gauragadadara Pakshachara Shinu Gauragadadara Charukatang Bhaja Godrumakanana Kunjavidum Tavai Vasmi, Na Jivami Tvaya Vina, Iti Vigyaya Devi Tvam, Nayamam Charanantikam. Bhaktya Vihina, Aparada Lakshai, Kshiptashtakamaditaranga Kripa Mai Tvam Sharanam Prapanna, Vrinde Namaste Charanaravindam. Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, Dandavat Pranams, Dri Hari Prabhu, Bhavatarani Mataji, Aditi Didi, Nitai Mukesh Ji, Tapas, Chatamai Mataji, and the Dalala Sididi, Ganga Mataji. I'm guessing my brother is there, Krishna Murari, and Indira Mataji, and Raseshwari Mataji. Um, and I don't know who else is there. Maybe Rohini Nandan Prabhu. If you write a comment, I'll see your name. Dandavat Pranamso. Um, all right. Today is an interesting morning. I Yesterday and today I got and like I went to sleep really late and and both days I didn't get a chance to sleep in the daytime. And this morning, um yesterday was such a full-on day. Anyways, but yeah, I went to sleep really late, and this morning I'm in this like really weird dream state. Like it took me, I don't even know how long it took me to do my onic, but it took me a really long time. And what kept on happening is like every 2 seconds, I'd all of a sudden be in a different dream. And then I would snap back into reality. It's like, oh, I'm doing my onic. And then I was like, wait, where am I? And then I have to start over from the beginning. I'm still kind of in that state. I was just right before we started reading, I mean, right before I went live, I tried reading just to like recap what we read yesterday, and same thing kept on happening. I kept on going into this dream state, and and then I'd wake up and like, wait, what's going on? And so, um, I'm not at my sharpest right now. I'm kind of like, yeah. But yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know. Just I'm probably right after this reading, I'm probably gonna take a nap, even though we're following Akadashi today, which isn't the best thing to do, but whatever, I have to, because yeah. Anyhow, all right. Oh, Dandavat Pranams Krishna Mai Didi. Haribol. Okay, so um we are reading Shri Chaitan um sorry, that's what I'm saying. My mind's not, it's maybe I should stand up even. But okay, so we are continuing our reading of Bhakti-tattva-viveka. Um, Yesterday we read the first half of the second chapter. The first chapter is explaining what are the general characteristics of bhakti. Um, and we read Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's detailed explanation of the verse Anyabhilashita Shunyam and the Swarup Lakshan, the Tatastha Lakshan. Um, and then we began chapter 2, which is an analysis on a semblance of bhakti and our Bhakti-ābhāsa. And so there are two types of Bhakti-ābhāsa. There's Pratibimba Bhakti-ābhāsa. That's a semblance of bhakti, which is just a reflection. And then there is Chāyā-bhakti-ābhāsa, a semblance of bhakti, which is like a shadow. Um, and so yesterday we read about the Pratibimba Bhakti-ābhāsa. And today we'll read about Chāyā-bhakti-ābhāsa. Um, it's really difficult for me to do this today, guys. I'm just Haribol Pujana Prabhu and Mantramurti Mataji and Ashray Tattva Prabhu Haribol. So Pratibimba Bhakti-ābhāsa, the reflection, um, this is also so it doesn't have any, it's a semblance of bhakti but it doesn't even have any connection with bhakti at all. Completely far away from it, separate from it, no connection. And so this Pratibimba Bhakti-ābhāsa is bad. Like these terms were also used in Harinam Chintami in regards to Nam. There's Pratibimba Namabhas and Chaya Namabhas also. And Pratibimba Namabhas is in no way, it's offensive even. It's not yeah. That Pratibimba Namabhas is offensive because it means that you're chanting for something completely opposite to bhakti. It's not just mixed with something bad, like you have some mixed motives, but no, it's you're doing and also same thing with Pratibimba Bhakti Bhas. You're performing the activities of bhakti with an aim to either like on it was divided into three. There is, let's just look at what they were. There's like Jnana Vritta, no. Anyways, one where that is Bhakti Pratibimba, like that is covered by Gyan, one that is covered by karma, and the third one was thinking things that are completely opposite to bhakti, thinking that is bhakti, I think. If I remember correctly. And um so so it means that your aim in performing bhakti has nothing to do with Krishna at all. That you want to either like your process of bhakti is just a temporary means that you're planning on discarding once you've attained your goal. So with Gyan, okay, I need to perform bhakti so that I can eventually deny Krishna's existence altogether and just merge into the Brahman. So that's the first one. And at that point, I'll give up bhakti. There will be no need for it anymore. No need to serve Krishna lovingly or anything like that. Then the second one, karma, same thing. I'm going to engage in bhakti so that I can um, have have lots of piety in my life and have a nice opulent life in this life, and then in my next life I can achieve the heavenly planets, and then no need for bhakti anymore. You're doing it for that aim. And then the third one was not as clear to me. Um, but it's um actually maybe we should go through the third one together. I there was it's yeah, you're it's what was it? Is Viparit Vastu bhakti buddhi janita pratibimba. It's things that are completely contrary to bhakti, and then you think that that is bhakti. Um, and that was divided, like, and it gave two examples of that. One was the worship of the Panchopasaks, and also the yogis whose aim is to attain realization of Paramatma and gain mystic perfections and all that. But let's look at the third one. And then today we're reading about Chāyā-bhakti-ābhāsa, which I think is also further divided into two. We'll find out more about that. But Chāyā-bhakti, a shadow of reflection has no connection with the object that it's reflecting. But it's just, it looks like it might appear like the object in some ways, but it has no connection at all. But a shadow does have a connection with the object that it's you know. And so um this Chaya Bhakti Abhas is a step in the right direction. You know, it's connected to bhakti, and it will lead eventually to bhakti if we it can lead eventually to bhakti. But it pratibimba bhakti bhas cannot lead to bhakti. That I think that was the last point that we read yesterday, was that pratibimba bhakti, it does not lead to bhakti in any way. Yeah, the chaya one does. But the pratibimba one, you just have to fully discard it and start over again. Okay. Oh, and I see. Okay, let's just. Prajuna Prabhu was asking. Wait, let me just see the. What is he saying? Are other religions, can they be Chaya or Pratibimba? I think it really depends. I don't think they all fit just into one category. Some will fit under Chaya, some will fit under Pratibimba. Okay, so this is the Mangala Charan that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote for this chapter. Yad bhaktyabhasaleshopi dadhati phalam uttamam tam ananda nidhim Krishna chaitanyam samupasmahe. We worship Sri Krishna Chaitanya, who is an ocean of transcendental bliss. Even a faint trace of devotion, even a faint trace of devotion unto him yields the highest result. Let's just read this one paragraph. It has already been stated that the natural and unadulterated endeavor of the infinitesimal consciousness, the jiva, towards the complete consciousness, Krishna, is called bhakti. Jivas are situated in two stages, the liberated stage and the conditioned stage. In the liberated stage, the living entity is free from all varieties of material relationships and is situated in his pure constitutional position, in service to Krishna. In such a stage, the jiva remains free from any material designation, and hence within him there is no opportunity for the marginal characteristics of bhakti to exist. Bhakti which is mixed with karma or gyan and any ulterior desires. No, there's no opportunity for it. In the conditioned stage, the jiva forgets his constitutional identity as his spiritual intelligence is diluted by the coverings of the subtle and gross bodies. In this stage, the jiva acquires various material designations, different upadhis. When a mirror is free from dust, it gives a clear reflection of any object. But when it is covered with dust, it does not give a clear reflection. In such a condition, we can say that the mirror has acquired a designation. When something covers the nature, the swabhav of an object, then that covering is called the object's designation. Material nature covers the pure constitutional nature of the jiva, and that covering is the jiva's designation. And so in every birth, we have all these different designations. Right now, in this current birth, I have a designation that I'm Madhukar, I was born in America. I have these interests. These are my friends. This is my family. Um, so all these different designations and these different considerations of what is I and what is mine. Um, and so everything that we do um, with that mentality, these these different designations that keep on changing over time for us, everything that we do on that platform is Bhakti-abhāsa. But then but over time, these different designations will start to vanish. And the more these vanish and we become established in our true identity, that I am a servant of Krishna, um, then the more our activities will become pure bhakti. And so, um, Bhakti Abhas exists prior to the stage of Shuddha Bhakti. From Bhakti Abhas, the stages of unalloyed devotion and Rati with unalloyed devotion appear in sequence. Now, Srila Rupa Goswami says there are two types of Bhakti Abhas. The difference between the two is that there's Pratibimba Bhakti Abhas and Chāyā-bhakti-ābhāsa. The difference between the two is that Pratibimba remains apart from the original object and appears as a separate entity, while a Chaya is completely dependent on the original object, and from a position of proximity to it, it appears as a partial manifestation of the original object. When a tree is reflected in water, the tree that is visible in the water is called Pratibimba, or reflection of the original tree. And this reflection is never in touch with the original object. The existence of the reflection is due solely to the existence of the original object. Um, Still, the reflection is accepted as a separate entity. And then, so that's pratibimba. And the form that appears because of the tree's blockage of the form that appears because of the tree's blockage of the path of light that resembles the form of the tree itself is called the chaya, or shadow. The existence of the chaya is entirely dependent upon the original object. Sorry. Okay. So Srila Jiva Goswami says this statement in Sanskrit. Tasman nirupaditvam eva rater mukhi. Okay, so he says that um, when bhakti is unadulterated, nirupadi, it means when there's no temporary designation connected with it. You know, when one's devotion is established in their, like when it's um what is it, performed by somebody who is free from these material designations. It's unadulterated. Then it is Swarup Bhakti, devotion in its intrinsic state. But when bhakti is adulterated by these different designations like that, then it is called Bhakti-abhāsa. Bhakti-abhāsa is manifested by the gonavritti, the secondary inclination of the living entity. The living entity's intrinsic inclination is called the mukhya vritti, and the inclination that is obstructed or covered is called the gonavritti. So Pratibimba Bhakti-abhāsa and Chāyā-bhakti-ābhāsa are both categorized as gonavritti, or secondary tendencies. When bhakti reaches its pure form, it is completely free from the tendencies of pratibimba and chaya. At that time, only the original object itself, pure spontaneous devotion, is manifest. So pratibimba bhakti abhas, the semblance of devotion known as pratibimba bhakti abhas, can be divided into three categories. Nirvishesh Jnana Avrita Bhakti-abhāsa. That's a semblance of devotion that is avrita, that is covered by nirvishesh gyan, by impersonal knowledge. Thinking that, yeah. Um, and then the second type of pratibhimba bhakti-abhas is bahirmukh karma avrita bhakti-abhas. That is the semblance of devotion which is covered by by activities, or pious activities also, but that are completely um, focused away from Krishna, focused on Maya, Bahirmukh. Um, and then the third type is Bhakti Abhas, which is generated by thinking Bhakti, thinking Viparit Vastu, thinking as a separate contrary entity, are are like a completely opposite thing to be Bhakti. That's the third one. So yeah, we already went through number one and number two. We kind of went through number three. Well, I went too far, I think. Where's number three? Sorry. Oh, there's number three. So, yeah, karma, gyan, karma. Now let's look at the third one. In present times, we can easily point out viparita vastu bhakti buddhi janita bhakti abhas, which is, this is how it's translated. It means um, it is produced by the visualization of bhakti in activities that are actually opposed to bhakti. And these are this type of bhakti abhas. It is prevalent in the Panchopasana and in the Ishwar Pranidhana. Um, so Panchopasana and Ishwar Pranidhana. The second one, Ishwar Pranidhana, is concentration upon the supersoul within the yoga process. So now it's going to explain the first one. What is Panchopasana? So those known as um, and yeah, I think there's a mistake in the translation here. I don't know. But Panchupasana, those who are followers of the Panchupasana system, they consider that there are five sampradayas. They're the worshippers of Shiva, worshippers of Durga, worshippers of Ganesh, worshippers of Surya, and worshippers of Vishnu. And all five, there are followers of impersonalism. And the Vaishnav line mentioned here is not the Vaishnav line in one of the four sampradayas. This is a separate thing, entirely separate. Um, yeah, so not a good type of Vaishnav. These are Vaishnavas that are impersonalist Vaishnavas, so they're not within any of the four sampradayas. Um, yeah, so he explains that. So one cannot attain unalloyed devotion as long as he believes such semblance of devotion to be real bhakti. If symptoms of bhakti, such as trembling and the profuse shedding of tears, are detected in the performers of this type of bhakti abhas, who worship these five deities who are with an aim to, it's also like actually these type of people are also they fit into the category of the first type of pratibimba, um, the jnana vritta bhakti abhas, because they just want to merge into the supreme impersonalists. So the symptoms of bhakti seen in these type of people who follow these panchopasaks, they should be taken only as symptoms produced by sensual pleasure and a mere reflection of the general symptoms. Just as the panchopasaks display a semblance of devotion towards their imaginary deities of the demigods, similarly, the second type of people in this third category, the yogis, they also display trembling and shedding of tears towards their imaginary deity of the supersoul. These are all examples of pratibimba bhakti abhas. The concept that Pratibimba Bhakti-abhāsa, the concept that Pratibimba Bhakti-abhāsa will gradually develop and ultimately transform into unalloyed devotion is totally false. Because by rejecting impersonal meditation and the benefits sought from fruitive activities, the existence of this semblance of devotion totally vanishes. There remains no possibility of those practicing Pratibimba Bhakti-abhāsa actually being benefited unless they completely purify their consciousness from its very root. And there's examples he gives. The impersonalists, such as the four Kumaras, and the topmost Jnani, Shukadeva Goswami, could only begin new and more exalted. They could only these two examples. They could only begin new and more exalted lives when they completely renounced their previous faiths and accepted the path of bhakti. Didn't transform into bhakti, they actually rejected their previous paths, and then they got into bhakti. By the strength of their new exalted lives, they achieved the status of our acharyas. Regarding Pratibimba Bhakti-abhāsa, Srila Rupa Goswami says in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1:3, verses 42 to 43, and we didn't actually read these verses yesterday, I don't think, right? Yeah, we didn't. So we'll read the verses now. Vimukta kilatarasharya muktarapi vimrigyate ya krishnenati gopyashu bhajadbhyo pinadhiyate sa bhukti mukti kamatvaч chudham bhaktim akurvatam hridaye sambhavatyesham kathang bhagavati rati. How is it possible for the rare Bhagavad Rati, ecstatic emotion for Bhagavan that appears in the stage of Bhav? How is it possible for that Bhagavad Rati to appear in the hearts of those desiring material sense gratification and impersonal liberation, when such Rati is being eagerly sought after by liberated souls who have completely renounced all varieties of material desires and is not easily granted by Sri Krishna to those who even to those engaged in its exclusive bhajan? To what to speak, sorry, what to speak of those, like how could, what to speak of those who are desiring sense gratification and personal liberation? This Bhagavad Rati rarely ever even comes in the hearts of those who are completely liberated, who are completely beyond material sense gratification and gyan and all that. They're already liberated, mukta souls, and even who are engaged in Krishna rarely gives even to them, those people who are engaged in exclusive bhajan, who only worship Krishna, even that for them it's very rare for this Bhagavad Rati to arise in their heart. So what to speak of those other people? So then Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, it is imperative to mention here that those who consider the pleasure derived from illicit association with women and taking intoxication to be love of God are themselves polluted and may pollute others also, like the prakrit sahajas. Okay, so that was Pratibimba Bhakti-abhāsa. Now we are beginning Chāyā-bhakti-ābhāsa. It is very important for a sadhak to understand Chāyā-bhakti-ābhāsa. Unlike Pratibimba Bhakti-abhāsa, Chāyā-bhakti-ābhāsa is not crooked and shrewd. It has simplicity and virtue. Srila Rupa Goswami has written as follows regarding Chāyā-bhakti-ābhāsa. This is from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Purva, the Eastern Division, Section 3, verses 49 to 53. Kshudra kotu halamayi chanchala dukkaharini rateshchaya bhavit kinchit tatsadrishya valambini hari priya kriya kala desha patradi sangamat apyanus shangika desha kvachir ageshvapikshate kintu bhagyam vinanaso bhavachchayapyadanchati yad abhyudhayata kshemam tatra syad uttarottaram. Hari priya janasyaiva prasada bharalabhata bhava bhaso pisahasa bhavatvam upagacchati tasmin evaparadhena bhava bhaso pyanutama kramena kshayamapnoti khasta purna shashi yata. So Srila Rupa Goswami says in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, he says, there are a few similarities between Chāyā-bhakti-ābhāsa and Shuddha Bhakti. But by nature, the practitioner of Chāyā-bhakti-ābhāsa feels some slight curiosity concerning what fruit will be attained by following this process. His mind is restless, and some of his material distress is eradicated. Chāyā-bhakti-ābhāsa is sometimes visible even within a person bereft of spiritual knowledge, just by the influence of their having come into contact with the times, places, and devotees that are related to Bhagavan. Whether one be a follower of Panchopasana or of a bona fide disciplic succession, one cannot attain the stage of Chāyā-bhakti-ābhāsa without some special good fortune having arisen within him. Because upon the shadow of bhav arising just once, in whatever minute degree it may be, it will certainly grow and result in progressive benefit for the sadhak. Yes. Remember, pratibimba bhakti abhas can never lead to bhakti, but chaya bhakti abhas does. It will certainly grow and it will result in progressive benefit for the sadhak. Upon obtaining the mercy of a pure Vaishnav, bhav abhas can suddenly progress up to the stage of bhav. But on the other hand, if one commits offenses at the feet of pure Vaishnavas, then even the topmost semblance of bhav gradually deteriorates, just like the gradual waning of the moon in Krishna Paksha, the dark fortnight of the lunar month. The moon gradually becomes smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, like it wanes more and more and more. So even if one's reached the topmost stage of the semblance of bhav, like they're just so close to reaching perfection. But if they commit an offense to pure Vaishnavas, then after that, it will start to deteriorate more and more and more and more. Chāyā-bhakti-ābhāsa is of two types. One, what is this? Sarup Jnana Bhav Janit Bhakti-ābhāsa. So the semblance of devotion that appears in the absence of knowledge of one's inherent identity. And two, Bhakti Udipaka Vastu Shakti Janita Bhakti-ābhāsa. The semblance of devotion in which the stimulation for bhakti is caused by the influence of having come into contact with objects such as time, place, and circumstances that are related to Bhagavan. Let's just look at the Sanskrit for these two. Sarup Gyan Abhav Janit Bhakti Vas. So that means Abhav means a lacking or an absence of Gyan, of knowledge, of one's sarup, of one's inherent identity, one's spiritual inherent identity. So it's arising from that, from an absence of knowledge of one's inherent identity. The second one is Bhakti Udipaka Vastu Shakti Janita Bhakti Abhas. So it is Janita, it arises, or it's caused or arises from the power or the influence of vastu, of things that are bhakti udipak, that stimulate bhakti. So I guess all different kinds of favorable things. I don't know. I haven't read this yet, and so I'm not familiar with either of these. Well, let's see what it says. So the first one, the intrinsic knowledge, are the Surup Gyan concerning the sadhak, the practitioner, sadhan, the practice, and sadhya, the object of achievement, is non-different from the inherent nature of Shuddha Bhakti. Hmm. It's non-different from the inherent nature of Shuddha Bhakti. So yeah, like in Bhakti, the practice is Bhakti, and the object of achievement is Bhakti. And the sadhak is completely immersed in that. So there's no difference between um, these three. I guess the knowledge of these three. There's no difference. Is that what it's saying? Intrinsic knowledge concerning the sadhak is not different from the inherent nature of Shuddha Bhakti. Okay, anyhow. Um, when such Swarup Gyan has not yet arisen within a sadhak, but the desire to cross over the ocean of material existence has come within him, then whatever symptoms of bhakti visible in him in that condition are merely bhakti-abhāsa. Mhm. And when it's saying Swarup Gyan, I'm wondering if it's like one hasn't understood the intrinsic identity. They haven't understood what is bhakti and um what is my like they don't have any like they haven't fully realized who am I? Like that I'm a they're not established in that Sambandha Gyan and they're not fully realized in the process and the object of bhakti. It's all the same and like that. Maybe it's like a theoretical, but they haven't actually realized that. And so um so whatever symptoms of bhakti are visible in somebody who hasn't fully realized this Swarup Gyan, their condition is merely whatever emotions and symptoms of bhakti that manifest in them are merely bhakti abhas. This semblance of devotion transforms into shuddha bhakti when one obtains this intrinsic knowledge. Even for Vaishnavas who are duly initiated into the genuine sampradaya, um, even for them, the illumination of one's eternal identity arising from the Diksha mantra that they received from their Diksha Guru will not appear until they are fortunate enough to receive instruction on this intrinsic knowledge. Who am I really? Due to, and I'm wondering here when it's saying Swarup Gyan, if it's referring to like, like we were reading in the last chapter of Harinam Chintamani, when there's all those stages, right? There's the Shravan Dasha, Varan Dasha, um, Samadhi Dasha, Apan Dasha, and then finally. And so once you've gotten up to a very high level in your practice, you know, I'm not sure what specific stage didn't really clearly mention, but like, maybe the stage of Ruchi and Asakti. But then at that level, then Guru will start to reveal to you what your eternal identity is. Like which type of rati do you have for Krishna? What mood do you love Krishna in? Are you like in Sakya ras, Dasya ras, Vatsalya ras, Madhur ras? And so I'm wondering if that's what it's referring to Swarup Gyan. Um, and that's eventually, in the process of Diksha, eventually we'll come up to that stage where Guru will reveal that. And then we go back to Guru and like that whole process. And um, but until that point, everything, all our bhakti will be different levels of bhakti abhas, of Chāyā-bhakti-ābhāsa. That's what I'm understanding. I mean, but this is I'm not speaking authoritatively. This is what I'm wondering, kind of. Um, so yeah. So even for Vaishnavas who are duly initiated into the genuine sampradaya, the illumination of one's eternal identity arising from the Diksha mantra that they received from their Diksha Guru will not appear until they are fortunate enough to receive instruction on this Sarup Gyan, this intrinsic knowledge. Due to ignorance of this intrinsic knowledge of the Bhakti Yoga process, Sarup Siddha Bhakti remains covered, and hence only the semblance of devotion is visible. I think initially also it's just having realization of that I am an eternal servant of Krishna, just that. So the devotion of the Panchopasaks who remain aloof from the teachings of impersonalism and perform the worship of their favorite deity by considering him or her to be a direct expansion of Bhagavan and a supreme goal is also Chāyā-bhakti-ābhāsa. Hmm. Still, there is a great deal of difference between Panchopasak Vaishnavas and Sampradayic Vaishnavas. I'm going to need to look at this again. So I'm wondering, because Panchopasaks were just explained as being in the category of Pratibimba Bhakti Abhas. Um, but now it's saying that there's Panchopasaks that are in that they um that they're also come in the category of Chaya-bhakti-ābhāsa. So there two different types of Panchopasaks. There are Panchopasaks that um, just see bhakti as a temporary means to the end goal, which is also Nirvishesh, Brahma, and all that. And then there are also Panchopasaks that consider the worship of their favorite deity. Those five different deities. They consider them to be a direct expansion of Bhagavan and the supreme goal. There's also Chāyā-bhakti-ābhāsa. Anyways, I don't know. Still, there's a great difference between Panchopasak Vaishnavas and Sampradayic Vaishnavas, Vaishnavas that come within the four Sampradayas. The resolute faith of Sampradayic Vaishnavas in the personal aspect of Bhagavan is much stronger than that of Panchopasak Vaishnavas. By receiving proper instruction on philosophical principles, a Sampradayic Vaishnav remains hopeful of reaching a very exalted stage of pure Vaishnavism. But a Panchopasak cannot be as hopeful of achieving such an exalted stage of Vaishnavism by receiving instruction on philosophical principles according to their own custom. The accessibility of association of pure devotees for Sampradayic Vaishnavas is much better than it is for Panchopasaks. If by some fortune the Panchopasaks obtain the association of devotees and simultaneously keep themselves aloof from the association of impersonalists, they then can be refined by the Sampradayic system and can begin pursuing the path of unalloyed devotion. Two scriptural evidences mentioned in Bhakti Sandarbha are being quoted here. In the Skanda Purana, it is confirmed that Sampradayic Vaishnavas achieve their desired result even by the practice of Chāyā-bhakti-ābhāsa. Sri Mahadev says, and this is in Hari Bhakti Vilas 11, verse 200, Dikshamatreena Krishnasya nara moksham labhanti vai kim punarye sada bhaktya pujayantyachutam nara. Just by receiving initiation into the Krishna mantra, one can attain liberation. So what can be said about what can be said about what one can achieve by performing devotion unto the Supreme Lord? Regarding Panchopasaks, who, remaining free from Pratibimba Bhakti Abhas, have developed Chaya Bhakti Abhas, the Adi Varaha Puran 21185 says, Janmantara Sahasreshu Samaradya Vrishadvajam Vaishnavatvam Labhet Kaschit Sarva Papa Kshaye Sati. If one worships Ganesh for thousands of births and becomes free from all sins, then it is possible to come to the platform of Vaishnavism. The scriptural conclusion is that Shaktas, worshippers of the goddess Durga, they are gradually elevated to bhakti by first becoming worshippers of the sun god, then worshippers of Ganesh, then worshippers of Shiva, then Panchopasak Vaishnavas, worshippers of Vishnu, and finally, Sampradayic Vaishnavas. By the careful analysis of the words of the scriptures, it is understood that by the influence of association with pure devotees, Chāyā-bhakti-ābhāsa transforms into pure devotion. Okay, that's interesting, huh? So there are some panchopasaks who are just like on the wrong path and will never come to bhakti. They're likely we read before, but now there are also there is a gradual path from panchopasana to gradually come to the sampradayic Vaishnav, like to come within the four sampradayas. So, interesting. Okay, so that is the first type of Chāyā-bhakti-ābhāsa. Now, the second type. In the scriptures, there are many examples of Bhakti Uddipaka Vastu Shakti Janita Bhakti Abhas. Oh, and Dandavat pranams, Sripad Bhaktivedanta Sajan Maharaj, Haribo. And remember, this is the semblance of devotion that is generated by the influence of things that stimulate bhakti. That's my translation of this. So the Tulsi plant, Mahaprasad, Vaishnav Prasad, the days of devotional observance such as Akadashi, the deity of Bhagavan, the holy Dhams, the Ganga, the foot dust of Vaishnavas, and so on. All the different things that we sing in the song Shuddha Bhakata Charana Renu. So all of these, and many more, are various objects that act as bhakti uddipak, or stimuli to devotion. They excite devotion, they inspire devotion, they stimulate. They're stimuli for devotion. The living entity receives immense benefit. Also in the song Radha Kunda Tata, right? It's all about all these different favorable things that stimulate one's devotion. So the living entity receives immense benefit even by coming in contact with these objects unknowingly. Sometimes benefit is accrued even when the innocent jiva unknowingly commits an offense to them. Coming into contact with these objects in this way is also Bhakti-abhāsa. Devotees will not be astonished upon witnessing such remarkable results of Bhakti-abhāsa. All such results are due solely to the immense power of Shuddha Bhakti. It's kind of the same like with Namabhas also, right? There are four different types of Namabhas, but like even if somebody doesn't know anything, but they either chant the holy name in jokingly or there's the four different ways, then they're performing Namabhas. And this also, even if somebody unknowingly they take prasad or they come into the dham or they do some service for a devotee or it's like unknowingly even, it's Bhakti-abhāsa. Devotees will not be astonished upon witnessing such remarkable results of Bhakti-abhāsa. All such results are due solely to the immense power of Shuddha Bhakti. If the processes of Gyan and Yoga are not executed purely, and if they are not supported by Bhakti-abhāsa, then they are incapable of granting any results. On the other hand, Bhakti Devi is completely independent. Regardless of the motives of those who take shelter of her, she fulfills their innermost desires. Although all these results are visible in the semblance of devotion, it is not the prescribed conduct. The execution of unalloyed devotion is our only duty. Those who desire absolute success should not, under any circumstance, give a place to Pratibimba Bhakti-abhāsa within their hearts. By the strength of bhajan performed under the guidance of pure Vaishnavas, they should cross beyond Chāyā-bhakti-ābhāsa and take exclusive shelter at the lotus feet of Bhakti Devi. Therefore, all of you kindly accept the following principle presented by Vishva Vaishnav Das. It says, Pratibimbas tata chaya bhedat tattva vicharata bhakti-ābhāso dvidasopi varjaniya rasarthivi. Those who desire to relish the liquid mellows of devotion, those who desire to relish bhakti ras, they should always remain aloof from both types of bhakti-ābhāsa. By reviewing this subject matter, it is concluded that the semblance of devotion is of two types, Pratibimba Bhakti-ābhāsa and Chāyā-bhakti-ābhāsa. Pratibimba Bhakti-ābhāsa has a tendency to make the living entity commit offenses, while Chāyā-bhakti-ābhāsa is incomplete in itself. The execution of unalloyed devotion is the only recommended activity for the living entity. Now, offenses towards bhakti. This is a very dangerous item. What is the committing offenses towards bhakti? I don't know. Let's see. This is a very dangerous item. We execute so many limbs of bhakti, such as accepting the Diksha mantra from a bona fide spiritual master, every day applying tilak to 12 different parts of the body, performing archan unto Sri Krishna, observing the vow of Akadashi, chanting the holy name and remembering Krishna according to one's ability, visiting the holy places like Vrindavan and so forth. But unfortunately, we don't try hard enough to avoid committing offenses at the feet of Bhakti Devi. Giving the example of the activities of Mukunda, Sriman Mahaprabhu highlighted to his devotees the various symptoms of offense towards bhakti. So this is from Chaitanya Bhagavat Madhya Kanda, verses chapter 10, verses 185, then 188 to 190, and 192. Khone dante trinaloy, khone jati mare, o khada jatiya beta na dekhibe more. Prabhu bole, o beta, jokhon jatha jai, সেই মতো কথা কহি তথায় মিশায় বাশিষ্ঠ পরয়ে যবে অদ্বৈতের সঙ্গে ভক্তি যোগে নাচে গায় তৃণ করি দন্তে অন্য সম্প্রদায়ে গিয়া যখন সম্ভায় নাহি মানে ভক্তি জাঠি মারায়ে সদায় ভক্তি স্থানে উহার হইল অপরাধ eteke uhar hoilo darashana badha. Sriman Mahaprabhu said, I can never bestow mercy upon Mukunda, because sometimes he displays his humility by taking a straw between his teeth, and at other times he attacks me. In other words, he keeps one of his hands at my feet, displaying humility, and the other at my neck, attacking me. According to his own convenience, sometimes he behaves as my follower, and at other times he criticizes me. Hence, I cannot reward him. Wherever he goes, seeking his own benefit, he represents himself accordingly and mixes with people. Sometimes he supports the doctrine of Mayavad by reciting from the book Yoga Vashishta, which is endowed with Advaita philosophy. And at other times, he shows his faith by abandoning the impersonal concept and cultivating Krishna Bhakti by becoming meek and humble, and by dancing and performing kirtan. When he enters the sect of impersonalists, he rejects the eternality of bhakti and condemns the devotees with the weapon of argument and logic. In this way, he has committed an offense at the feet of Bhakti Devi. Therefore, I cannot give him my darshan. So Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura says, Mukunda Datta is an eternal associate of the Lord. So whatever Mahaprabhu said to him in this regard is only a pastime. But Mahaprabhu's objectives are very grave. So there must be an extremely confidential reason for his statements here. His confidential instruction is that we cannot please Krishna by just by accepting initiation and executing the various limbs of bhakti. Only those who have unwavering faith and exclusive devotion can satisfy him. Those who have developed such faith accept the path of unalloyed devotion with great determination. They do not visit places where doctrines that are unrelated to Shuddha Bhakti are discussed. They go to places where the topic of pure devotion is being discussed, and they listen with great interest. Simplicity, determination, and exclusive desire for bhakti are the natural characteristics of such unalloyed devotees. They never approve of statements or activities that are opposed to the principles of bhakti, merely to gain popularity. Pure devotees always remain indifferent to such things. Okay, this is the last paragraph. These days, most people don't try to avoid the above mentioned offenses. Just from seeing the devotees or hearing narrations of the Lord's activities, they display symptoms of apparent spiritual ecstasy, such as trembling and the shedding of tears, and they support spiritual philosophy in assemblies. But afterwards, they are again seen becoming mad after sense gratification. Therefore, dear readers, what can be said about the so-called adherence, the nishta, the so-called nishta, of those who display these bogus sentiments? We understand that just to earn fame, they display these symptoms before the devotees. Out of greed to acquire fame or other material benefits, they display varieties of this sort of conduct. It is a matter of great sorrow that these people not only commit an offense at the feet of Bhakti Devi by propagating deceitful philosophies in the name of Bhakti, but also they completely ruin the spiritual lives of the living entities of this world. So they don't just commit an offense to Bhakti Devi, but they also ruin the spiritual lives of living entities. Dear readers, we should remain very careful not to ever commit any offense at the feet of Bhakti Devi. First of all, we must vow to perform bhakti while remaining indifferent to all else. We must never do anything or speak anything that is contrary to bhakti, just to gain popularity or collect followers. We must remain simple and straightforward in our actions. There shouldn't be any difference between our words and our actions. We must never try to gain the favor of those who are indifferent to bhakti by displaying to them artificial symptoms of advanced devotion. We will always remain chaste to the principles of unalloyed devotion and will never support any other doctrine. Our external conduct and the feelings within our hearts should be one and the same. You mentioned that twice now, huh? That our external conduct and the feelings within our hearts are what we say and what we do. Yeah, so a little bit different. They should be one and the same. And that's the end of this chapter. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentions that point in a few different songs. Antare bahire samavyavahar. What my what you see on the outside and what is inside are both the same. There's no discord between um and I think he mentions it in three different places in the songs. What is another one? Um oh, the Vaishnava is Antare bahire nishkapata sada. No. Anyways, whatever. But yeah, our external conduct and the feelings within our hearts should be one and the same. And we must remain simple and straightforward in our actions. There shouldn't be any difference between our words and our actions. All right, so that's our reading for today. I'll do short Mahamantra and end. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Jai Shri Sachinandan Gaur Hari Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai, Shri Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan Ju Ki Jai, Jai Shri Gurudev Ki Jai, Jai Shri Param Gurudev Ki Jai, Jai Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai, Shri Rupano Goriya Guru Varga Ki Jai, Sapar Ji Gaur Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai, Jai Shri Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Shri Harinam Chintamani Sai. Shri Bhakti-tattva-viveka ki Jai. Jai Shri Bhakti Devi ki Jai. Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai. Oh, Jai Shri Papmochani Akadashi Titi ki Jai. Titi Palan Kari Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai, Ananta Kuti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai, Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai, Shinitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. I'll also say Jai for Akadashi tomorrow because some people are following today, some people are following tomorrow. So, Vanchakalpatarubhyashta Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyaya Keshavashita Krishna Bhakti Pradadevi Satyavataya Namo Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyashta Kripa Sindhu Pyaeva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dandavat Pranams. Yeah, today would have been a good day if I read it on my own, just so that the parts that I'm not clear about, I could look into it more carefully and then, but anyhow, um, what to do? Hopefully I can read this chapter today again on my own, and then I can do like a summary of it, and any things that I wasn't clear on today, I can try to clarify. We'll see. But yeah, Chatamai Mataji, you have any yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu. Beautiful reading today. And I hope you get a nap sometime.
Thank you.
You have my permission.
Yes, thanks.
Haribol. So I'm looking at this statement here, further back in the chapter. It says, the illumination of one's eternal identity will not appear until they're fortunate enough to receive instruction on this intrinsic knowledge. Now, there's many ways to get that instruction. I'm thinking in particular from Jiva Dharma. It talks about the Ekadasha bhavs, and that we each have a certain seva that's personal to us. But where do we specifically get this knowledge from? Is it just from the Diksha Guru, or is it from our reading?
Okay, I'm just like right now I'm just speaking off the cuff and I'm not what I'm saying is not like an authoritative answer. This is just what's coming to my mind right now. Um, well, first of all, like when it was talking about Surup Gyan, I'm not sure if it was referring just to like the basic Sambandha Gyan of like understanding that Krishna is um my, Krishna is my Lord and I'm
Oh,
a
okay.
servant of Krishna,
Okay.
just like becoming established in that. Um, but then I think it does mean eventually, like ultimately coming to knowing more specifically, not just that I'm a servant of Krishna and I'm not this body and I'm not, but even coming more specifically understanding, um, more like in what kind of relationship do I have with Krishna? In which way do I love Krishna? In which mood,
Mm.
which one of the rasas? Um, maybe it can mean both also, you know what I mean? Like, and so then you're asking if that's received through the Diksha, like, is that imparted through the Diksha Guru? And then what did you say about reading? Or is it also
Or
realized through his reading?
can you get this knowledge just through reading books like Jiva Dharma?
So according to my understanding, no, um, it must come from Sri Guru.
Okay. Okay.
But um, but even our reading has to be done. Like even our reading is not, we can't realize anything just through our own efforts. Everything in bhakti is bestowed upon us. That's why we're followers of the descending process, not the ascending process, right? Like the ascending path. So
Avaroha.
yeah, avaroha. We 100% rely on mercy from above, to come down to us and lift us up and give us realization, and that is done through Sri Guru. But I mean, realizations and things can come through reading, but it's all I mean, I guess it's all interconnected, you know what I mean? Like we even in our reading we receive the mercy of Sri Guru, you know what I mean? Like it's all yeah. But nothing ever happens by our own endeavor. That's the thing. It always happens by mercy. And by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's mercy, we can understand what we're reading from him. You know what I mean? But we can't just so and then also with Sri Guru, maybe it might come from one's Diksha Guru, or maybe these things will be revealed by one's Shiksha Guru, you know? It's also that
Oh,
it's not that's yeah, I don't think it's so like rigid it happens only in this one way or anything like that.
okay. Okay. There's many ways it can happen. It sounds like such amazing knowledge. Who wouldn't want to know what their Siddha Swarup is at the
Yeah.
soonest possible opportunity?
Yeah, that's what I saw with that last chapter of Harinam Chintamani. That was even though it was so high and like so beyond, like you know what I mean, it almost seemed like it was inappropriate to read, but no, it was there to show us like this is what we want, like this is what we're trying to aspire for. And it made it really exciting, like wow, this is what's gonna happen once I get to this stage. Oh my God, I need to do my practice so that I can get to that level. And so yeah, that's it's
Thanks so much. Thank you, Prabhu. Appreciate it.
Haribo. Let's see, all devotees who are here. Dandavat pranams, Niri Hari Prabhu, Bhavatarini Mataji, Pradyumna Prabhu. Dandavat pranams, Prabhu.
Baba pronouns. Bhatrini was remembering something
Mm-hmm.
that Srila Prabhupada said.
It was during the time when Nitai thought he one of the Radhakund Babas told Prabhupada's disciple Nitai that he was a peacock and he was practicing being a peacock. And Prabhupada said that he, even if he'd already left the planet, when we were ready to have this knowledge and initiation, he would personally come back and give it to us.
Right.
But not that he wasn't saying that we couldn't get it from a Shiksha guru, but he was saying not to go to someone else to find out what it was, that he would personally.
Or by an external effort.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, and yeah, our guru takes that responsibility for us to deliver us, and so that's one thing. I think it's inappropriate to try to get that kind of nourishment from any going outside our sampradaya, our line, like our Bhaktivinoda, and then you try to like I see lots of times people do they they try to go somewhere to get this like topmost thing, but no, it's our acharyas in this line. They are the ones who took full responsibility for giving this to us. And so we can honor all different Vaishnavas and different sampradayas, and you know hear some get some help and guidance maybe in a small way, but really when it comes to it, everything um is here in this line. This is our family, and I think it's actually disrespectful to Sri Guru if you trying to get this topmost thing from somewhere else when he was the one who took that responsibility. It's like
Yeah.
it's like almost showing like like you don't have trust that he has the power to give everything that we need.
Right.
Uh,
That's the fallacy.
Yeah.
Yes. And the story of Mukunda Datta is also kind of comes to light, how prominent. He said with one hand he would touch his feet and the other hand would just choke him. He like accommodate to whatever group he was in. But of course Mukunda Datta is eternal associate, so that pastime. I was just listening to Chaitanya Bhagavat. It's just so wonderful. And your favorite story of Sridhar Kolavich. It's wonderful.
Oh yeah, by the way, if anybody wants, I just wrote I wrote a thing on my website, Vine of Devotion. I just wrote something yesterday about that pastime,
Oh,
Kolavich Sridhar.
oh, cool. Very nice.
I wrote the first part. I wrote like the introduction to it, and I think it might be three different things on it. But yeah, it's on vineofdevotion.com if anybody wants to read it.
It's so interesting, that story, but correct me if I'm wrong, that when the 21 hours of displaying his godliness or godness um, to Sridhar, he tells him that for so many lifetimes he had worshipping him like that, with almost not having anything. And it was interesting that I think he is actually Sudama Vipra, isn't he?
From what I remember, like reading in like in the Srila Bhakti Vallabha Tirtha Goswami Maharaj's book, he says that he is Kusuma Saba
Oh,
Saka.
that's right.
That's
So
Yes,
one of Krishna's sakas, yeah. That
right.
was famous for like teasing Krishna a lot and like fighting with Krishna and something like that. Or he'd make Krishna laugh a lot or something. I
Yeah.
forgot exactly what it said, but yeah, something like that.
But it all comes like also noticing that with our Sambandha, our connection to Krishna, to everything, it'll be first through Gurudev. And because many times Sri Guru tells us to study and to read while they're not here. And so is that in value or not valuable? Of course it is valuable. But first of all, we had, like you said, I mean, that faith, that's relationship has to be established. And he will teach us how to connect, to that. So it's not that independently, well, we found Jaiva Dharmas, we're going to read it, now we're going to come to the end result, as it'll be given for sure. Whereas always reiterating that is through taking guru,
It's
having a
always
guru.
mercy.
And
Yes.
I think like what it is every point, every moment in our devotional practice, we always are like aware and conscious that, you know, Gurudev is the one holding me by the hand and who is helping me. And then we see Shri Guru in all things. So in our reading, we're fully connected with Gurudev. When we're
Yeah.
hearing from different personalities, it's all, you know what I mean? Um, it's like there's this deep constant connection with guru, not getting diverted from guru. And um and then you'll even start to see guru in other things, like things that happen, like the example of the 24 gurus or whatever, but like you start to see guru's mercy and his instructions in all different things.
Yeah.
But that is the main point, is that you never like letting go of his hands to like go somewhere else or try something independently. But in every activity that we do in devotion, everything that we hear, everything, it's that we're always holding onto his hands, and like he is I don't know, it's something like that. I can't really quite articulate it, but that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah. My Guru Maharaj, we were in Mayapur. I was in Mayapur with him in a morning walk, and he illustrated things so amazingly and vividly, very simple examples. And there was this little wall that he had to climb up to go to the other side. So the devotee rushed forward and climbed up a bit and extended his hand, and Prabhupada grabbed it. But when he got up to the top, Prabhupada pushed him away, pushed his hand away and said, "See, that's Mayavad. When they come to the top, they push their guru away. They think they're now they are guru. Now they are God."
Wow.
So never, never let go of that hand, or in connection with him. Always.
Wow.
That was just like mind blowing, isn't it? It stayed for me. Thank God. I mean, that Udipak stayed with me. And other work too, but this one is very
Wow, thank you for sharing that. Beautiful.
Beautiful stories, dear devotees. Thank you for sharing.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm just a vehicle. If I remember and what Prabhupada taught us, and how illustrated the points, they were so simple but very impacting. And so I'm just, I pray that I could always be a little instrument of remembering, real instructions.
Yeah. And that's the thing we always have to look at in our heart is my nishta and my exclusive nishta and dedication to my Gurudev increasing or not. And if it's not, then what we're doing, we have to change something. We always have to see that inner nishta. And that's what a shiksha guru is, right? Shiksha guru is our Param Gurudev would say, and Srila Vamana Goswami Maharaj, and there's different quotes that a shiksha guru is somebody who strengthens our nishta and dedication to our diksha guru. And so, and it's a very internal thing. So you have to see within your heart. It's not an external thing. It doesn't mean that your shiksha guru might just be always saying your diksha guru's name and your diksha guru this and like no, it's something that you feel inside your heart is my dedication. Am I trying to become a better disciple of my Gurudev? Is this making me want to please him more? Is this, like what's happening in my heart? And then yeah, it's something like yeah.
Yes.
Interest. I felt the same way about Srila Narayan Maharaj as I did about Srila Prabhupada. Well, Prabhupada was my everything. And one time we were in the airport, the last time Gurudev was in the US, he was leaving, and Bhagavat Maharaj said, Gurudev, you're like our dear uncle. And I said, no, much more. And I wanted to say, you're my father, my mother, my sister, my brother, my husband, my lover, my friend, everything. But he's,
I hear the racist. I was waiting to.
And he said, he wanted me to say more, but I couldn't. I was thinking, well, that sounds almost sahajiya, but I felt that about him as well as about Srila Prabhupada. I had the same feeling.
Yeah, and your relationship with Gurudev made that feeling for Srila Prabhupada increase all the more as well, right?
Yeah,
It's-
yeah.
it's-
And
And everybody has their own individual relationship with everything in bhakti is so personal, like so
Yes.
extremely personal. And so nobody will feel the same. Everybody will have their own unique relationship with Guru, their own, even in Gurudev's Harikatha, the points that he'll make, everybody will hear the Harikatha in a different way. They'll get different instructions from it. Different points will stand out to different people. And like everything in bhakti is completely personal and individual.
yes, he showed us that when from the time that I met Srila Prabhupada, he showed me that as how he's the outer manifestation of Paramatma. And I was thinking that because Paramatma can speak since he's in everybody's hearts, the message for each one, what they need to hear is going to connect that way. So one night we were listening to Prabhupada's lecture in Los Angeles, 74, and when he was done, he said, did you like that? And everybody said, Jai Prabhupada. Said, I liked it too. That is Paramatma.
Wow. Wow, that's amazing.
So there's, the Chinta Veda Tattva, they're, or Shashadharitana, they're one, but at the same time, they're the topmost servants.
Haribol.
The wonderful mysteries of Bhakti. Haribol.
All right. Oh, I didn't see everybody who's here yet. Pranams Nita Mukeshji, Chatamai Mataji. Of course, I already said Nuri Hari Prabhu Bhavatarini Mataji Tandavat Pranams. Vidyalala Siddhiti, Ganga Mataji, Shripad Bhaktivedanta Sajan Maharaj, Dandavat Pranams Maharaj, and Rohini Nandan Prabhu, Pradyumna Prabhu, Mantramurti Mataji. And there are a lot of devotees today. I'm guessing Indira Mataji, Raseshwari Mataji, maybe my brother Krishna Murari, and Rohini Nandan Prabhu. I already said that. All 10 devotees there. Dandavat pranams to all of you, and pranams to all devotees watching in the future. Haribo Hari Mohini Didi. And see you all tomorrow to read chapter 3. I'll try to do a review of what we read today. I'll see if I can. And then tomorrow we'll read chapter 3, which is about I think is the attributes of bhakti. What are the different things that happen when you start to engage in bhakti at the stage of sadhana? There's kleshagni and shubhada. And then once you rise to the level of bhav, then there's moksha laghutakrit and sudurlabha. And then once you rise to the level of prem, then there's Sandarananda Visheshatma and Shri Krishna Karshini. So we're going to hear about all those symptoms or attributes or what I don't know where it's used, but we're going to hear about that tomorrow. All right. Thank you so much for joining. See you for that. Haribol. Oh, and I see a ton of comments from Pradyumna Prabhu. So I didn't get to, oh, he's not there anymore. So anyhow, maybe the comments in on Zoom get saved. And so I can look at those tomorrow also.